I don't know how much I want to share the secret, but Oregon City has one thing that I think is better than anywhere else in the Portland metropolitan area. Stick around, I'll share with you what that is. We got some quick pros and cons coming up. All that starts now. Hey everyone, Seth Marchett with the Home Team Brokers here. Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new to this channel, living in Oregon, and you'd like to see more about what it's like to live in Oregon, make sure and hit the subscribe button, tap the bell. That way you'll be notified every time we drop a new video, which is twice a week. And as licensed real estate brokers in the state of Oregon, as much as we like making these videos, we'd love to help you move here. So if you're somebody that's thinking about moving to Oregon, you can call us, text us, email us, or even click the link below in the description if you want to get into our calendar and schedule a Zoom call with us. All right, pros and cons. Going to start with some quick pros here. We've got a couple cons, and then at the end, maybe got one or two that we'll let you decide. First pro for Oregon City, their downtown. I think their downtown is as good, if not better, than any of the downtowns for the surrounding towns. So we're talking about like Happy Valley, Clackamas, Milwaukee, Westland, Canby, Wilsonville, any towns that are have any kind of proximity to Oregon City. I think Oregon City's downtown is just a little bit better. There's a little bit more selection of the restaurants. There's more energy. There's more people typically frequenting the downtown. There's more events downtown. They've got more new restaurants. They've got quite a few new restaurants that have done really well in the past 4, 5, 6 years or so. And they've got a new food cart pod called Corner 14, which is very, very popular in the suburbs. Food carts, of course, being popular in Portland, have really branched out to the suburbs over the past couple of years or so. And the food cart pod that Oregon City has built, it's called Corner 14, is really as good as any that I've seen in the suburbs. So that draws a lot of people, and it's right next to downtown. It's right in downtown, so that draws a lot of people downtown. And the community here is really good about supporting the businesses in downtown Oregon City. So it really just makes for a really vibrant downtown. And you can kind of see the downtown back there, and it gets better, and the downtown is even being improved upon with something called the Willamette Falls Restoration Project. There's a lot of old buildings that are sort of defunct in downtown Oregon City, right next to downtown Oregon City, that have been sitting there for a long time, that just as of this past year they've started to demolish, and they're going to build a big new commercial space. There might be some residential space as well too, maybe some condos, something like that. It's been something that's been in the works for a really long time. Not sure why there's been so many hiccups, but they're working on that right now. And when that's finished, you're gonna have a new space where you can go downtown Oregon City right on the river and be able to shop and eat and really enjoy kind of one of the crown jewels of Oregon City, which is Willamette Falls. So look for that to come here in the near future as well. Next pro for Oregon City is going to be schools. The schools here are rated well above average. That includes the primary schools, the middle schools, and there is one high school, Oregon City High School. It's about 20 years old, so it's a relatively new high school. Aside from all the academics being great, the athletics are great here as well. I remember when I was in high school, Oregon City girls basketball team was actually the #1 team in the country, not the state, the country. They actually won nationals 3 years in a row. I don't even remember how many times they won state, but to win nationals, not just once, but 3 years in a row, obviously is incredible. And that doesn't end with the Oregon City's girls basketball team. Oregon City in general has great athletics. So if your kids are into sports, this is a great place for them. Our next pro for Oregon City, if you're moving to Oregon City, you have about as diverse of neighborhoods in Oregon City as really anywhere else that you'll find in the Portland metropolitan area. Oregon City is a historic place, one of the first places settled west of the Rockies. So you've got a lot of homes here that were built in the early 1900s, some even in the 1800s. So you can find a lot of older, charming, historic type of homes. And there's also quite a bit of new construction here and everything in between. There's quite a few mid-century ranches. There's also quite a few properties here that are on acreage. So if you're somebody that's looking for a little bit more land, Oregon City would probably be one of your top choices if you're trying to stay within some proximity of the Portland metropolitan area. Oregon City's also been home to the Oregon Street of Dreams a few times here in the last maybe 15 years or so. Street of Dreams is something that we do here in Oregon. I think most states have Street of Dreams, but it's something we do every year. It's a once-a-year thing where a handful of builders build what a lot of people would consider like a dream home. You know, homes that are out of reach for the vast majority of us. Sometimes you just go to these things just for fun, you know, just to look at a really nice house. But Oregon City's been host to that a couple times, and that's because they've got some really great land out here. They've got some really great properties, and there's a lot of great places to build too. So if you're also somebody that's thinking about building, Oregon City could be a good place for you. But whatever type of home that you're looking for, whether it's new construction or something older or in between, something smaller or something with a larger lot, Oregon City has it all. You can pretty much find anything that you want in Oregon City as far as the type of home that you want. They've probably got as diverse of a selection of different types of homes and neighborhoods as anywhere in the Portland metropolitan area. Next pro, poverty and unemployment are significantly lower in Oregon City than the state average as well as the national average. So the economics here in Oregon City are in good shape. The average household income is about $81,000 for the country. It's about $67,000. So in Oregon City, about $14,000 higher. So the people in Oregon City and the town itself, and generally their economics are doing well. One pro that people really enjoy in Oregon City is going to be a community pool. Here in Oregon, you're not going to find too many pools, and consequently it's tough to find swimming lessons. Those swim lessons book up real quick. But people in Oregon City do tend to have access, or a little bit more access, to swim lessons than some of the other neighboring communities. So having that community pool is definitely a big plus. A lot of people enjoy it here and really take advantage of it. Again, in Oregon, you're just not going to see too many pools around. Okay, and for our final pro, can't share this with too many people, but Oregon City does, in my opinion, have the best movie theater seats of anywhere in the Portland metropolitan area. Now here in Oregon, we do have some kind of fancy movie theaters. One of them is called Cinetopia, where it's supposed to be like a dinner movie theater where you have really comfortable seating or lazy boy seating, and you can order food, you can order dinner, sort of like a luxury experience. And some of those movie theaters have some pretty good seats, but I don't think any of them have seats that compare to the ones at the Regal Hilltop in Oregon City. Those seats are the most comfortable seats that I've ever sat in. You can lay all the way back. It's just like a lazy boy. So if you want to go watch a movie and maybe you're somebody that can never quite get comfortable, I know some people like that can't ever quite get comfortable at movie theaters. The seats just aren't comfortable enough. Try the Oregon City Regal Hilltop movie theater. Those seats are incredible. All right, let's hop into some quick cons now. Not too many of them. First con, one thing that I hear from people moving to this area, if you're looking at Oregon City on a map, if you kind of want to get a little bit of a better feel for Oregon City, you just Google search Oregon City. The lines that Google comes up with for the borders are, the area looks pretty small. Go ahead and search the zip code 97045. That's the zip code for Oregon City, and you're gonna see how far out that zip code extends. Now, if you're in like a downtown Oregon City, like right here, you're gonna have close proximity to the freeway, pretty much close proximity to everything that you wanna get to. However, if you're getting further out, like towards Springwater Road or Beaver Creek, you might be 20, 25, 30 minutes from the closest highway. So you could be in some places 20, 25 minutes from downtown Portland in Oregon City. In other places, you could be getting closer to 45 minutes or even an hour, depending on how far you go. So Oregon City's a big place, and you can really get pretty deep and pretty far away from things if you're really not paying attention to exactly where you're at. And with that comes another con, which is, you hadn't heard this really up until maybe the last couple years or so, but see a lot of people complaining about the congestion. There's one main way to get into Oregon City, that's Highway 213. And I have noticed myself over the years that getting more and more congested. You used to be able to just go from I-205 up 213 to get to the top of the hill in Oregon City in just a couple minutes without running into traffic, whereas now sometimes you actually run into traffic, and sometimes you're running into bumper-to-bumper traffic. And if something ever happens on that highway, because there's no real main way to get into Oregon City, if you ever have an accident, on which occasionally you have an accident that blocks both of those lanes, then you're gonna be stuck in Oregon City for a long time. That's happened to me once a couple years ago. So it has grown in popularity, and consequently it has gotten a lot more congested over the last couple of years. And to top things off right now, they're actually doing a bunch of work on the highway right by downtown Oregon City right now. That's gonna take a couple of years. So traffic in Oregon City and traffic right by I-205 in Oregon City is getting really, really bad right now. Hopefully the improvements that they make here over the next few years will relieve some congestion. They're also talking about adding tolls too. Nobody likes to hear that. So definitely the traffic and congestion is something that has picked up and people have noticed over the last couple years. One other con for Oregon City, it's not very bikeable. Again, this town was developed a long time ago, one of the first towns developed west of the Rockies, and really hasn't been modernized. So the public transportation is maybe not as good as some of the surrounding areas. Obviously the MAX doesn't come here, and the bikeability of it, you know, Portland is one of the most bikeable towns in the entire country. Oregon City itself, not super bikeable. Not the best to get. I mean, you can do it, you can get around, but it's definitely not the most bike friendly place in the Portland metropolitan area. All right, and then the last one I've got for you, this is something you'll definitely notice spending time in Oregon City and around Oregon City. Oregon City is very rural. It's got a rural feel to it. I think a lot of the people here, you know, sort of have a rural feel to it. You might see somebody with some cowboy boots and a cowboy hat here in Oregon City, whereas you won't see that in a lot of places throughout the Portland metropolitan area, especially probably on the west side. You have to go pretty far west. So it's got it's probably got as much of a rural feel to it as any place in the Tri-County area between Clackamas County, Multnomah, and Washington County. So if you want something rural, if you want maybe a little bit more of that country feel, that could be a pro for you. If you're somebody that's kind of, if you're somebody that's not really into the rural vibe, then that would probably be a con for you, but definitely rural here. If you have questions about moving to Oregon City or any of the surrounding towns, if you'd like to take the next step, you can call, text, or email, or as I've mentioned before, you can click the link below in the description if you want to schedule a Zoom call with us. And if this video helped you, give us a like, lets us know we're doing a good job. Feel free to leave a comment. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure and subscribe. Until next time, take care everyone.